Welcome to everyone that has joined early. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. At this point, if you have any questions or you want to introduce yourselves to one another, feel free, please.
Hello, good evening. My name is Henry.
I say good morning. It's morning here. I know it's the afternoon there, so good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Henry.
So we're just gonna allow some time here for people to come in.
My head in class. Am I already in class? Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm well.
My name is Henry.
Hello, Henry. How are you today?
Fine.
So where are you coming to us from, sir?
Sorry?
Where are you from?
I'm from Qatar, Doha.
Very good.
Yeah, sure.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So where do you work?
I work in schools, around 3 schools. I'm the safety manager for 2 schools.
Okay. What level?
All levels until
All levels.
grade 12, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, sure.
I spent 7 years teaching.
Wow.
Yes.
That's good.
So
I've been here for some time.
I'm sorry?
I've been here for some time. I did my safety in London.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
What are your what safety qualifications do you hold?
I hold in a certificate in industrial safety, and I have fire and risk management. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, sure. So
Very
now
good.
I'm trying to do another one, which is called general, GCC.
Okay, sure.
Which they value so much here in the Gulf.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but however, when I pass in through the topics they do, I see as if they are the same things, you know. Yeah, they don't carry any big difference.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, see, that's one thing that that helps us is that the aspects of safety are very similar throughout the world.
Yeah, sure.
So how are you dealing with the current health crisis?
Health crisis now, distancing is the most important thing now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, social distancing is the only key now.
So as I understand, in Doha, they're enforcing this very strictly.
Strictly, that's how they have tried to manage the situation, to stick on principle.
So are the schools all closed?
Yeah,
Distance
schools are
learning?
closed, already closed the children at home. The bigger children who have, you know, the capability to study online, they are really going on with the lessons.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
My grandchildren are doing the same.
Sure, they are going online.
Yes.
Ah,
Zoom school.
okay, that's good. That's good. Where is that? That is US?
Yes.
Okay, which state are you now?
Indiana.
Indiana, okay. Indiana is, I hear it is good.
Yeah. So this morning we woke up with about 2 inches of snow on the ground.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's very strange.
That is serious. That is serious, really. But the biggest problem, I think, is in New York. It's not in Indiana. It is New York.
Yes, New York has a bad. New York, Los Angeles,
Yeah, sure.
Miami, and New Orleans right now. Detroit. So some of the big cities. But I think it's going to continue to spread to the smaller cities more slowly.
And I don't think it is so easy for the people in the US to do social distancing. You know, many people, use the same things: washing machines, washrooms, especially in the big cities.
Yes, this is true. I'll try to change my view here. There we go. Okay. More people are coming.
Yeah, more people I see they're coming in.
I need to get Malavan in here and get him assigned.
Around 10 minutes to go.
So yeah, we have over 70 that are registered. So we'll see how we do.
Yeah, sure.
So when we get started, what we'll do is we'll ask everyone to turn their video off so that it saves bandwidth.
Okay. Come again. You said when we start, we shall put off the video.
Put off the videos, yes.
Okay. That's the best way.
Okay. I'll be with you in 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. For the class starts, I have to.
Hi, good evening.
Hello. I'm getting ready to make you the co-host.
Oh, very good. Sorry, I'm late.
Okay, you are now co-hosting. So we're having
Okay, brilliant.
one user who's having some audio difficulties.
Who might that be?
Galaxy Note 5.
Ah, that's Anthony. Wait, let me okay, I just unmuted him. Hi, Anthony, can you hear me? It's okay, it's okay now. So he's able to hear. Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Malavan. Good evening, Terry.
Oh,
Here's
very
the
glad, very glad.
so here's my hold on a second here. Let me clear this. Here's my current weather status.
Oh, it's very sunny.
That's snow.
It's too much.
I was just kidding. We are not used to such pictures in this part of the world.
Yeah. I know, and I'm not that used to it either.
Malvan, how are you doing?
Hey, very good, very good. Okay. Hey, who was that?
Henry.
Oh my goodness, Henry, after a long time.
Yeah.
Very good,
How are
man.
you
Very
doing?
good. Very glad. Excellent, man.
Yes.
Excellent. Very glad to
Yes, yeah.
see you on a relaxed note.
Yeah.
Good, man. Good. Excellent. So everyone's quite early. Okay. All right. Very good. So we have a lot more people to join in. So let's go until about 6 o'clock and then we'll start our session.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So I believe right now we have unmuted everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Unmute all. Right. Okay. Very good. Excellent. So who else do we have? Isan. Oh, Isan is here. Okay. Brilliant. Hi,
Hello,
Isan. How are you?
everyone.
I am fine, Malavan. How are you? Everything is good in Qatar?
Very good, man. Very good. Excellent. Okay. I'm recollecting the names now.
It's actually everyone from Qatar over here.
Everyone from Qatar. Everyone from
Yes,
Qatar.
because I see Henry, you're also in the Qatar.
Anna, I am in Pakistan right now.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because Henry introduced that we're sitting in Qatar, I was thinking more people from here. Hi.
Okay.
I'm from Texas
Okay, brilliant.
University in Qatar. This moment working from home.
Very good. Very good. Anna, out of curiosity, I believe you're in the HSC department?
Excuse me, one more time.
Anna, are you in the HSC department? Sorry, it's a lame question.
From research, from chemical engineering. Research.
Chemical engineering. Okay,
Chemical.
very good.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, and I have a former colleague that spent several years there at Ras Al Khaimah teaching fire service, civil defense.
Okay. Now, I don't know too much people. I'm over here second time for 4 months. Then I'm just joining during the project.
I see.
Then I don't recognize the name. I think if I see the person by face, I think I can know.
Sure. I think he's back in the States now, but his name is Ken Burson.
Ah, Ken. Yeah, that's a big chance. I'm here for 4 months. He was already here 4 months ago.
I think he had
Bye. Hang on, before. I would you forget now. No man. For I declare this your blood.
Terry, I think we are going to run into a problem with the bandwidth. Shall we disable? Okay, shall I disable the videos? Can I ask everyone to just disable the videos, please? I'll disable mine as well. Stop the video. All right. That way we could have a conversation.
Very good.
I got a question. I hold the VCA Vol certificate from Netherlands. I was working for years in the industry for the Dow Chemical. And I wanted to know how you translate this for the American certificate. Is that the same?
I'll take a look and see here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Anna, what was the name of that certification from the Netherlands?
VCA.
BCA. So I'll have to run that by the BCSP and see. So it's not on their list. So they would have to evaluate that. But I can get back to you with that information.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hello, please, can you tell all the participants to mute themselves so that we can hear properly?
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. See, what we're trying to do is until 6 o'clock, we wanted to keep the mic open so we can have a chat. And then at exactly 6 o'clock, we'll start our webinar. When we start, only the presenter's video and audio will be open.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Hey, you're welcome, Emmanuel. Brilliant. So, except for, is there anyone in the group who's not from Qatar at the moment, other than Isan?
I am from Qatar, Johnson Chukka.
Johnson, anyone who's living outside Qatar? I mean, who's not working here at the moment?
Looks like no one.
No one. Okay.
Most of us are in Qatar.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
So, so are you all going to the sites on a daily basis? It's a question to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
myself I am, yes, Johnson.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Are you in the, Johnson, are you in the infrastructure project or the stadium? What kind of projects?
No, I'm in Barzan. Ras
Ah,
Laffan, Barzan.
I see, with Mr. Kevin Murray.
No, Barzan is Huwari,
Qatar Gas.
Muhammad Huwari. Yeah, part of Qatar Gas.
Qatar Gas, okay. I do know someone, one Mr. Kevin Murray. I think he holds the SHE lead position. That's what I remember. I'm not very sure. He, you know, he used to work for Gas before.
Yeah, not now. Now it is Ahmad. He is from Azerbaijan.
I see. All right,
And
okay.
remaining all
Glad to
Qataris,
know.
all Qataris, yeah.
Ah, really? Okay, okay. I need to update my contacts.
Yeah.
It's a bit old now. Okay. And Wahid, what are you able to hear us, Wahid?
Yes. No, my name is I'm Wahid.
Wahid. And what kind of projects are you involved in, Wahid?
ISF project.
ISF.
Yeah, ISF, yes.
I see. So
ISF, Internal Security Force Camp. located at Duhel.
Okay, Duhel. Now,
Yes.
we were associated with one of their projects. I think ADCC was the contractor, Actor.
Actor, yes, is the, well, HCA with Ajaba. They are one of the contractors. We have many contractors. There are QDSBG available there, Manai available there, Adeali available there, KG available there, ICT available there, Albalak also available there. Many projects that.
Okay. Is that the extension of the new building, or it's? I think they were saying it's the accommodation for the ISF personnel.
The ISF is a camp for the Lakwia. Both we have offices, petrol station, workshop, camps.
Wow.
Barracks.
That's a huge project.
Yeah, it's a huge project. It's more than maybe some projects there, like QDSBG project, is more than 7 years there now. So the QDSBG have 2 packages there, but both two almost finished now. Package 7B and package 7A. But KG, they are the one doing the workshop and offices. Ali Engineering, now presently they are on Health Center. Manai, they are doing the internal security and some IT networking project.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Sounds very huge. Good, man, good. Let's speak to some of the other callers. Mohammed Aman. Hello.
Hello.
Mohammed Aman. No. Can you hear us? I think he has to unmute the mic. Okay. Terry, I think we are on time. Shall we start? And as and when people join, I'll let them come in.
Very good. So, welcome everybody. I hope that you're all doing well, maintaining your social distancing, and keeping yourselves safe. Not the easiest thing that we've ever had to go through. Obviously, something different for all of us. But welcome, and thank you for taking the time out of your days to join us on this information webinar from the Board of Certified Safety. So what we'll do is we're going to start. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Terry Boes. You can see my name here. I am a certified safety professional, also certified emergency manager, and fire protection specialist. So I'm 57 years old. So I've been around for a little while. As you can see, I've earned a few grays in my beard, and started out as a school teacher. I was speaking with one of you earlier, Henry, who works at the schools. So I started out as a school teacher, then went into the local fire department here, and retired from that, and became a emergency manager, and do a lot of training. I've taught exam preparation courses in several different countries as well. I really enjoy teaching. I feel like it's a good way to make a difference in the world and reach out, hopefully make everyone a little more safe and efficient. So throughout the day, I want to point out while we're starting here, you can see some information here, and please pay special attention. If you have questions, I know that you all have Malvan's contact information, and obviously you can ask him. I want to encourage everyone to participate and ask questions during today's webinar, but if there's something that you think of later or something that might be a lengthy question, please feel free to email me at terry@epictraining.org. You can see that on the board. I'll be more than happy to get back to you. I had a question earlier from Anna Roman regarding certification. That's probably a good one. Just so that I don't forget, Anna, if you want to drop me an email, remind me to check on that with BSCP, I'll do that. So anyway, we'll get started here now, finish a little bit up about myself. Most of the teaching that I've done has been face-to-face. I enjoy the interaction. Obviously, that's not something we're going to do right now. I was speaking with another participant earlier before we started, and my grandchildren, I have 4 grandchildren, are now attending their classes on Zoom. So it's going to be something I think that we're going to be doing a lot of here in the near future. And my guess is we're going to make this process more efficient because we have to now. And we're going to see this type of training really grow and expand in the coming years after this is over. So, but what I want to do is go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring up some slides to look at for some time here. And so I'd like to ask, can everyone see the slides now? Anybody not getting to share? Good, good. So, so this is, again, just a little bit about myself. Have degrees in emergency management, education, and MBA in project management, and have worked in oil and gas in Kuwait and Abu Dhabi. So I have spent some time in your part of the world. Also teach for the U.S. Fire Administration's National Fire Academy, and also for FEMA.
You need the intervention of the emergency management.
Is there a question? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is put some questions on the screen that I would like for all of you to answer. So this is our first one here. Going to just want to find out a little bit about all of the participants today and your backgrounds. And this will help moving forward. I could put the information up. The information's not going to show names. It'll just show the numbers of the questions. So first question is how long you've worked as a safety professional. Second question is your level of education. And the third has to do with what certifications we hold. This is going to let us know where we're at in the process as well. Again, if you're having trouble with the poll, please enter that into the chat. Malvan will work with people that are having difficulties. Looks like everyone's coming through here, or most people getting these answered. So I'm going to leave this up until all of the answers come through. May take a little bit of time. We mentioned all the people that are holding these Zoom meetings and all the schools. So the bandwidth is very low right now. It's the information highway has a traffic jam. And so we're all moving very slowly across that information superhighway. It's like the freeways in Los Angeles or Mumbai, right after right after the work lets out at 5 p.m. So this is very good. Looks like we've just about got everyone's votes in. Is anyone experiencing any difficulties?
We are trying to be online.
It's okay here.
Okay, I think we've got everybody. I think we've got everybody here. We'll put the results up, kind of give everybody an idea. So out of the 12 people that have responded, 11 with 4 or more years in safety. Everyone here with degrees, and almost everybody holds you can see the results here. So this is a very experienced group of people that we're with today. So congratulations on your successes. We'll go ahead and so we're going to keep moving.
There's also the following 3 questions about yourself. Joining the meeting, please arrive which are 10 minutes prior to the start time.
Okay, so we've talked about these things. Let's go ahead and start talking about the Board of Certified Safety Professionals. First of all, I think that everybody probably knows a little bit about that. It's probably one of the reasons you're here, because this is the most highly in the world. Hold on. Can everyone hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For just a second there, I think I lost my audio. So the Board of Certified Safety Professionals offers 9 different certifications, and the premier certification, the most highly desired, is the CSP. Requires several different things that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. And Malavan and I have both recognized I think Malavan may have been doing that.
Oh, my apologies.
We have both recognized that there's 2 main advantages to being certified as a safety professional. One is that it's very often required or highly desired as a hiring requirement. It also, in many times, is a requirement if you wish to move up the corporate ladder in HSC and become supervisor and management level. So it's very often when looking at promotions in a company as well. The certification process, sometimes it may seem a little difficult, but it's really simply a three-step process. You have to apply by going online. Once accepted, you schedule an exam through Pearson VUE, and I'm aware that there are Pearson VUE facilities throughout Doha and throughout the Middle East. I took an exam in Dubai at a Pearson VUE facility a few years ago for my certified fire protection. So once you're scheduled, you prepare for the exam, and then obviously you take the exam. Very straightforward. Let's talk about the application process first, because that's the that has a few steps in it, and you do all of the application now, something that's new within the last couple of years. All the application is required online. So do we have anyone in the class, you can unmute and speak up if that has applied for the CSP?
Yes, I have applied for a CSP, and my application have been reviewed and approved. So, by the way, I have a question. So my application is already approved by the CSP.
Very good. Congratulations.
And, thank you. And I'm going to, so what should I do? I have to obviously first do some preparation, then appoint an exam. Is it okay? Or I should do the first appoint the exam, then preparation. So how should I do? Because I have a deadline till end of this year. No, sorry, next year, March. Okay, so I can do the preparation and then appoint an examination. Is that right? So what time taking for appointing exam?
Okay, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So the timetable allows you the time to prepare, and that's 1 year. So from the time that you receive your letter, there will be a date on that letter. You have 1 year from that date of your approval to complete the examination. So you can set the appointment for your examination anytime that you want. I very strongly suggest setting that appointment out long enough in advance that you have plenty of time to prepare. We're going to talk about the exam here in a bit, but the exam covers a lot of material, and so you need to give yourself time to prepare. We'll get to that later, but just hang in there and I'll answer that question. As far as the order to do things, you can prepare, and then once you feel that you're prepared, you can schedule your exam. Probably the best way to do it is to start preparing, and then as you start to get closer, go ahead and set your appointment. And the reason that I'm saying that is, if you do all of your preparation and you feel you're ready, and then you set your appointment, you may not get an appointment right away. And if you don't, then the preparation, you'll have to continue to prepare, because we all know that as we prepare and we learn and we study, we're not going to remember it over a period of time. So what you want to do is schedule your exam very quickly after you're done preparing. We'll go through that that timetable a little later, but
Thank
it
you very
is
much.
important. But you do, the main point is that you have 1 year from when you get your approval letter from the Board of Certified Safety Professionals to get that exam completed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
So when you're going through the application process, it's a lengthy process as far as think of it sort of as applying for a job. They're going to ask you what jobs you've held and what those job duties are. And basically for the experience, at least for it to count, at least 50% of your job duties had to be safety related, and you need to describe those on the application. So make sure that you know that when you're looking at your history, your work history, and you're filling out the application, make sure that at least 50% of the time that you are performing your job, that 50% of it was safety related job duties. If not, then that time period will not be accepted. The form will also will direct you, depending on how you answer different questions, to submit certain documents. This will include the diploma and very possibly in many cases, transcripts. So before you get started, just know that you're going to need those documents. It may ask you for your CV, and it may ask you for contact information for people at your employers that can verify employment. They don't always check on all of those, but they always can. So you never know who they're going to audit and check and who they will not. There is a fee of $160 US to have your application reviewed and processed, okay? And that $160 does not get refunded if you don't get approved. That's the fee for them to look at it, to vet your diploma and your transcripts and your work experiences. So once you've gotten your letter, again, you can schedule your exam with Pearson VUE. This costs a little bit more, $350 US. And you can schedule that exam, again, up to a year, and you can schedule it as far in advance as you want, and it just depends. Some testing centers only let you schedule 1 or 2 months in advance, others for the entire calendar year. Each one's different. It just depends on how they run their facility. So one of the things that you might want to do as you're going through the application process is find the local Pearson VUE testing center that you wish to work with, and just give them a call and find out how far in advance you can schedule your exam so you know at going in. So the slide here says the next part is the most difficult, preparing for the exam. And I completely agree. Preparing is always harder than taking the exam. The exam is only hard if you didn't prepare. If you do your preparations, the exam then is no longer the hardest part. The exam is 200 questions, and you have 5.5 hours to complete it. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not an easy exam. You're not going to run through there in 30 minutes, answer 200 questions, and go out saying, oh man, I knew all of those. Okay. So the pass rate is about 50%. And I know Malavan and I have both worked with people that are preparing for and have taken this exam, and almost every single one that I've ever known that's come to me and said, can you help me with this exam because I took it and I didn't pass it. When we talked, the main problem that they had was that they didn't prepare properly. Some thought, well, I've been a safety professional for 10 years. I probably just go in and whiz through this. That's not the case. So this is a very thorough, inclusive exam. It covers everything. Unfortunately, as a safety professional, you don't always work in every one of those categories, okay? Your position may not have responsibilities in one, and your industry may not have things that are going to be in the exam, and then your company may not have provisions or policies. So you do have to spend some time preparing, okay? And the fact that you need to prepare really does not, doesn't mean that you're not a successful professional and that you don't know your job. There's just way too much information about safety out there for anyone to know. There are 9 categories that the tests cover, and within each category, there's a lot of topics. So believe me, it's not by any means an impossible task, but it's very difficult if you don't prepare. If you prepare, you're going to make it, okay? So it's just one of those things. And when you work in safety, we all know that. If you're not prepared at your facility, you're going to have accidents, okay? But if you are prepared, you're going to get through it, and you're going to cut those accidents down quite a bit. So before we move on, are there any questions about the application process or the test scheduling process?
Hi, Terry. I'm Johnson here.
Yeah, repeat your name, please.
Yeah, Johnson.
Okay, very good. Welcome.
I'm an industrial hygienist for almost 7 years now.
Okay, very good.
And before that, I was a safety professional. So will I be considered as a safety professional, or and industrial hygiene is a different thing for you?
Yes. Well, any time that you spent in your career as a safety professional will count in your evaluation. It doesn't have to be your current job or the last job that you held. Additionally, industrial hygiene is a safety professional category. So you will get credit both for the time you spent in safety before getting into industrial hygiene and for during the industrial hygiene as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're very
I've
welcome.
got a question.
Yes,
Hi,
please.
Anna from this side.
Hi, Anna.
I've got a question. Like I
Yes.
told you, I've got already 5 years experience in the industry for the environmental chemistry and from the oil and gas. And 2 of the years I spent as a focal point for the, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Anna, just bear with me. I'm going to mute everyone, and then you can unmute your mic and ask the question again. Would that be okay, Anna?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay, so Anna's move on to the next.
Can I? Okay, can I ask again? Just quickly.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
My experience at work was mostly laboratory work, technician work, but I also was working as a focal point for the safety inspections. Then is that counting as the safety experience on this moment?
Absolutely. So obviously any of the amount of your daily time spent as the safety point will count. But also, while you're doing laboratory work, you have to make sure that you mention any time the amount, what they're going to evaluate is the percentage of hours on a daily basis. So if you work 8 hours a day, and let's say 6 of it was in the lab, out of that 6, how many hours were considered working in safety? And you have to remember that if you're following safety protocols, that time counts. If you're implementing safety in the lab, if you're reviewing safety, every day when you come in and you're putting safety guards in position, let's say you have to inspect the hood if you're working with chemicals and making sure that your hood is working. All of the time that you're performing safety related, and anytime you're dealing with chemicals, obviously safety is of the utmost hazardous materials, one of the top 3 or 4 of the most mentioned safety violations. So in the U.S., actually, not communicating chemical hazards is the second most common violation for companies. So just make sure that when you're filling out your application, that you have to really highlight the amount of time that you spend with safety in that lab, because we all know chemical laboratories have a high level of inherent risk, and so you're working on safety quite a bit during that time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so I think we had another question. Malvan, do you know who that was that was trying to ask the question as well?
No, I think he already asked the question.
Okay, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Any more questions about the application process or scheduling tests?
Guys, if you want to ask a question, just unmute your mic. So I've given the access to everyone.
Very good.
Okay, how is payment done?
I'm sorry, repeat that, please.
How is payment done?
Okay, when you submit your application through the online process with the Board of Certified Safety Professionals, you will pay at that time. You'll enter your payment. I haven't done it for a while. I don't know if they take PayPal. They may just take bank information or a credit or debit card, but you pay at the time you submit. You pay the 160 application fee. Now, after that, once you get approved, then when you call Pearson VUE, it will depend, again, on your local Pearson VUE center. They may ask for the 350 payment when you schedule your appointment. That's typically the most common way, although there may be some that will have you pay when you come to take the exam. But yeah, you pay those directly at those times. Any questions further on the payment? Did I answer your question?
Yes, please. Yes, please. It's okay. It's okay now.
Okay, very good.
Terry, I've got a
Please,
question.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
If I understand you properly, what are the basic qualifications before we can apply for this?
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that we're just getting ready to look at those. So just hold on and we'll answer that question, okay?
I beg your pardon?
I'm just getting ready to talk about the qualifications. So give me 1 minute and we will. Hold on a second. So give me just a minute and we'll go through that. We're going to look at a video from BCSP, and if that doesn't answer your question, then come on after the video and ask again, okay? Sound good?
All right, it's okay.
Excellent.
Good. Terry, I have a question. The $350, I was under the impression that we have to pay to BCSP and not Pearson. Can you confirm that for me?
Okay, I'll confirm that. So
yeah, sure, please.
Again, they've gone through a major process change in the last year. So I'll have to, let me confirm. They just changed all of the content area in the 9 domains, as well as a lot of the procedures. For example, they changed the method that they use to validate diplomas very recently as well. So once you've got your approval, the most important thing is that you have to have a plan. You can't just go at this and say, oh, I'm just going to go do this. Okay. You know, I'm going to sit down and study when I feel like studying or when I get a little extra time. And, you know, I'm just going to study the policies of my safety policies at work. So you have to have a plan. You need to know, first of all, your strengths and weaknesses. You need to know what's going to be on the exam. You have to have a very good understanding of test-taking strategies. It's very ironic, but it's almost as important to know how to take a test as it is to know the content of the area. There are some things that can help you take a test. That happens to be one of the things that I have a lot of expertise in and have used very successfully during my career. I'll take a little brief moment here and tell a funny story. So I'm certified through the NFPA as a Certified Fire Protection Specialist. So that's an open book test. And so as soon as you hear open book, you think, oh, wow, that's an easy test. I wouldn't worry about that at all. Okay, so the CFPS test actually is a very difficult test. The book is not a book, it's 2 books. And between the 2 of them, they are 3,600 pages. So finding one answer in 2 4-inch thick volumes with 3,600 pages is a little bit more difficult than it sounds. And I was living in Abu Dhabi at the time and ordered the books through Amazon, had them shipped to me, got a box, and went to the testing site. And got there an hour early, was eating some shawarma, and there was a Pearson View in Dubai, actually in Sharjah. And I opened the box and there's only 1 book. I had volume 1, I did not have volume 2. So now I only had half of the information that I needed. So fortunately for me, however, number 1, I had been 20 years in the fire service and I was very, very good at test-taking strategies. I've been very good at taking tests all my life, and I've studied the strategies of test-taking and also how to relax and not let anxiety get in the way of doing your best during a test. And so with the 1 volume, I was able to go in and squeak through and pass that exam. And I knew that I was going to get at least 50% of it because I had 1 book. And so, but I was able to get through the rest with knowledge that I knew before and being very good at taking tests, being able to know what they're looking for, know which answers are possible, which answers are not possible. And also time management is very important as well when you're taking a test. Another part of your plan has to be practice tests. Now the CSP exam has some test question formats that were not always, that aren't real common in a lot of other. We're used to seeing during most multiple choice exams and most computer-based exams where you end up picking A, B, C, or D. However, CSP sometimes will have 6 possible questions or 6 possible answers. Oftentimes also they will list 4 answers and then they will have the opportunity. You can pick A, you can pick A and B, you can pick B and C, you can pick A and D. So they switch things up on you a lot that way as well. So and also the most common type of multiple choice question, you can usually look and say, oh, those 2 answers, they're not even close. They're no possible way. So then you're down to 2, and when you have some experience in the field, which you all do, it's going to be easy to pick between the two. And worst case scenario, you have a 50-50 chance if you have to guess. The BSP exam, both the ASP and the CSP, all of their exams, quite often, all four of the answers might make sense. You're not looking for the only one that's correct. You're looking for the one that best answers the question. So again, we need to plan, and part of our plan, very important, is to practice test questions using the right format. So I'm going to play this video, and this is going to do a very nice job explaining to us this process. This is the CEO of BCSP. Okay, come on. Give me 1 second here to get this started. Okay, well, looks like we're having some technical difficulties, so we're going to go ahead and move on and talk about the, so we're going to move past that. So what the video was talking about was reinforcing those steps, and then talking about the content here. So we'll go straight into this content of the 9 domains. And these are the categories that all of the topics and questions will come from. And you can see here listed on your screen, we have science and math. Again, realize that what the test does and what the questions do is it looks at each of these topics, and let's just use science and math as an example, as they relate to being a safety professional. For an example, let's say you have a tank of a hazardous chemical on your site, and you need to know the volume of that. And you can see through it, you can see that it's an 18-foot diameter tank that's 20 feet high. I'm sorry, I'm using feet. We can think in meters. I know that's the way you're going to do it. My apologies. But anyway, let's say it's 18 meters in diameter, 20 meters tall, and it's half full, so it's 10 meters. You need to be able to do the math to figure out how many liters of the hazardous material are in that cylinder. So it's not just, the test isn't going to just come out with different math principles that you won't need. They're going to be tied to things that you do as a safety professional in your daily duties, okay? And as you can see, there's several domains here. Again, it's very obvious to see how all of them relate to safety: advanced science and math, management systems, risk management, something that we should really be doing every single day, and that the people that we work for and work with and the employees who we are protecting as a safety professional, they should be doing risk management every time they do a job in industrial setting. The advanced application of key safety concepts. That's a big one. We're going to spend a lot of time on that. in the test. And so your preparation and your study should also spend a lot of time with that. Things such as the Heinrich pyramid and the hierarchy of safety controls, the concepts of elimination, substitution, guarding, administrative controls, PPE, those things. Emergency preparedness, fire prevention, and security, very obvious how those work for safety. Occupational health and ergonomics. Remember, safety is not just to stop injuries, but also to stop potential illnesses. And it's not just those things that can happen from one incident, but things that can happen from doing your job incorrectly over a long period of time. You may be improperly performing a lifting job, and it never hurts you when you do it. And it doesn't hurt after a month of doing it or 6 months of doing it, but after 2 years, it can start to cause problems. So that's what we're talking about when we look at the occupational health and the ergonomics. Environmental management systems. We had some people talking about chemical labs and industrial hygiene. And right here's where you're going to find those sort of questions. Training and education. As a safety professional, every one of you at some time during almost every single day of your job, you're educating somebody. It may not always be formal, it may be informal, but you are tasked with understanding the safety concepts, but your workers don't have that knowledge. And so you have to impart that to them through formal training and classes and certifications and any type of classroom training, on-the-job training that you might do. And then also on an ongoing basis, when you're doing observations, when you're just looking at what's going on in the plant and what your people are doing, there's always going to be an opportunity for you to step in and perform some education. And then finally, law and ethics. And a big part of this is a difficult one in safety because we have something called ALARA, or as low as reasonably achievable. And that's not a line, okay? That's a gray area. And you as a safety professional are going to see that a lot differently when your only job is keeping people safe than the people on this side who maybe own the company or manage the company and have to keep it safe within a budget, okay? So there's going to be a potential there, and that potential occurs quite often for those things to oppose. And so the ethical practice of safety requires the ability to be safe, but understand that your company also has a bottom line. And so at what point are we as safe as we possibly can? Okay, our goal is always no accidents. We know that when humans are involved, that's not going to happen. But that's something that we strive for. And the fact that we may not be able to mitigate and to prevent every single accident injury doesn't mean that that's not what we work for. And that's one of the ethical considerations that you as a safety professional have to the people that you're protecting. At the same time, you also have an obligation to the people that you work for to ensure that your safety program doesn't bankrupt the company. I could probably go in and design a safety program that would stop every single accident from ever happening. It would cost so much that the company would cease to exist. So that's a very interesting domain. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go back to our polling, and we're going to walk through each of these 9 domains and look at just a sample of the content in each one and look at some questions. At this point, does anyone have any further questions?
Guys, if you have a question, please unmute your mic and you can ask your question.
Okay, so we're going to start with math and science. So read the 3 questions here. Answer these. These are just samples of the types of questions that you might find in domain 1 that cover math and science. If anyone is having any difficulties with seeing or answering the questions, please unmute your mic, ask a question, or you can always type a question in the chat. So we're gonna allow about 1 more minute. And again, don't worry if you answer these or don't answer them. You get them right or get them wrong. We're just really trying to get a feel for the type of questions that might be answered or might be asked during this exam.
I think we should have started with another domain.
Well, we all know that math and science are some things that a lot of people struggle with. So let's look at it this way. We're getting the worst out of the way.
If my son sees this, he's going to have a field day. He's going to enjoy me being confused.
Well, another good thing that these 3 questions show is the range, especially in math and science. There's so much covered. And one of these questions is pretty difficult. The other 2 are more basic. So we have one that's kind of moderate, one that's very difficult, and one that is a little more basic. So I'm going to go ahead and end this now, and we'll put the results up. So we're going to share the results here. So question number 1, the question about the laser. So we can see we had 5 people with answer A, 4 people with B, 3 people with C, and nobody with D. So let's start with the really good news first. Nobody answered D. That one's not the answer. So that's one good thing. And then even better news is that the answer that most people chose today, which was 141.5 or choice A, is the correct answer. So real quick, well, let's look at the other 2, then we'll talk about these. Number 2, the area of a circle whose diameter is 30 meters. Okay, so now we're talking about some basic geometry, and vast majority of the people got the answer correct. And let's very quickly look at the 3rd one. Again, more basic mathematical. This time we're talking about statistics, and obviously we know in safety we use a lot of statistics. And this question was worded in a manner that incorporated some of the statistics that we use most often, are near misses. And so we see here that the answer was indeed 12, and most people, again, got this right. So are any questions on any of these 3? Anybody have any questions or comments before we move to the next domain?
Yeah, can you explain about the first question, because 2nd and 3rd was like a little bit easy, but the first one was like over the mountain, sir.
I'm sorry, I was having trouble. You were cutting out a little bit. If you'd repeat that, please.
Yeah, I'm talking about the questions you repeated last time. The first one was over the mountain. 2nd and 3rd one was easy because we are from safety department. So 3rd one was like near miss, so we know about that. And 2nd is also not very tough. So can you explain about the first one if you have a time for 1 minute only?
So the first question asked about the amount of irradiance. Okay, so a laser has a certain amount of power, okay, per unit. It's the amount of energy imparted. So not all lasers are equal, okay? And so what we have here is this particular laser, we're given the power of 250 watts when it's striking a surface with a diameter of 1.5 centimeters, okay? And so it shows us that the area of what the area of a circle is, pi r squared, that the fixed variable pi times the radius squared will give us the area of the circle. And then what we have to do is apply the formula for the amount of watts, okay, to show how much of that circle is irradiated, okay? And so what we get is the number of watts per 1.5. And so if you have if you have 250 watts being spread over 1.5 square centimeters, which is the area, then the average power of that that strike of the laser is 141.5 watts per square centimeter. Do you understand that? So if that were been 1 square centimeter, the answer would have been 250. However, because it's over a larger area, then the power or the wattage goes down. Does that make sense to you? So I think if we were to look at that, and let's say there were 2 square centimeters with 250 watts, we would have been at 125 watts per square centimeter. So basically what we're doing is we're dividing the watts by the number of square centimeters. On the second one, obviously, this is just the simple formula of the pi times the radius squared. We weren't given the radius. I think the thing that might tripped up a few of us here is we were given the diameter. And so what you had to do was cut that in half to get the radius. So that's why some people got the 2826. And then really all we're asking for with the mean is the average. And so the third question was probably less than of a math question and more of a definition question. What's the definition of the mean? Okay, so unfortunately, it's probably easier for people to understand when we say, what's the average of the number of near misses? But instead, we use the term, what's the mean value? Anybody have any questions on any of those 3 questions? So let's take a look at domain number 2, management systems. And I've put up here a sample question from domain 2, predict the ability of an organization to successfully make a change. So what we're looking at here is, how do you manage your facility? Okay.
Terry, excuse me, Terry. I think the poll is still not on display. Yeah, okay. Got it. Yes, now it is.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump in there and answer this one. This one's going to be a lot easier than the last one. And because this domain has a lower weighting, there's only one question here. But this will give you an understanding of what the BCSP is looking for when they're testing your knowledge on management systems. Remember, the CSP is a very highly valued professional certification. And so a lot of the level of questions they're going to ask you are not going to be at the entry level. They're going to ask you questions about being a manager, being a supervisor, about being an influencer on the safety culture of the company that you work for.
Yep. Yes, I can.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good. So this one was pretty close. We had the most answers were for the third choice. So I want to read through this question again because there's two parts to the question. First, in predicting the ability of an organization to successfully make change. So this answer to the question of what is procedural justice may not necessarily mean that it's the what we would call the right answer or the only answer. All of these are three of these four are pretty good. Actually, all of them could answer the question, but which answer helps make an organization successful when they're changing their procedural justice? So procedural justice, think about justice. What do we think about when we think about justice? We think of that justice is something that is fair. If something is just, it's fair. And the answer, the first answer, the extent to which the individual worker perceives fairness. So if, what this is saying is if your workers can think that any change you're making in your procedures is fair, then you can be successful making that change. So this is one that takes kind of some logicking through, but if you can connect the word justice in the question to fairness in the answer, it helps you understand how that would work. So procedural justice could be thought of as an arbitration method, could be a way to get justice in your procedures. It could be a way to rationalize a new procedure, and it could also be a procedure to determine appropriate disciplinary action. Your justice has to be, your procedures have to have justice in them. So it's very easy to understand why we want to pick the third one that half of the people chose. But what this shows us is you need to understand not only the content of the questions, but also you need to understand how a question is being answered. Govind, go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, Teddy, why cannot we choose option number 1? Because they are also talking about the workers, and here they are talking about the whole safety. So why do some people are confused, including me also, because choose to 1 or 3rd? Because both the meanings are 75% are same.
Well, I think what causes the confusion on this one is that the question is really asking, they're not asking what is procedural justice. What they're saying is, how can you make procedural justice successful? And to make it successful, the workers have to perceive fairness. So any type of procedures and changes that you make in your system, the employees have to feel that it's fair. If they believe that it's fair, then you can successfully make that change. So, and I'm not saying that the other questions aren't correct to us to answer only what is procedural justice, but if we frame it in the rest of the question, whereas we need to know how to make our procedural justice work so that it's successful, then we have to know that the workers have to perceive that it's fair. And we, in safety, man, we are working with procedures all the time. And we're tweaking procedures, we're changing procedures. And we know that getting change across to people is important for safety, but it's also one of the hardest things we can do. People inherently resist change. But if they think the change is fair, you can successfully make those changes. Anybody else have any comments or questions on domain 2 here and our management?
So definitely, I was taking the logic of the answer. Sometimes individuals or workers perceive fairness in the supervision, but it may not be in a framework of the safety, safety discipline. So what about that? Because fairness sometimes does not apply so much on the, on the procedure for safety.
That is correct. Yeah. And that's where we're talking about, we have to make sure that there's a perception of fairness. So, and I understand what you're trying to say, that when it comes to safety, you would rather be right than fair. And so it has to do with language, it has to do with communication skills, and making people understand that the only way to be fair is that everyone is safe.
Thank you so much. I got the point.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to the next domain. So we're moving on to domain number 3, risk management. So this is another way that the BSP.
Excuse me, Terry. Actually, what is the basically right answer?
Oh, it was A. It was
A.
fairness. Yes. Do you want me to
Okay.
put that one back up?
No, no, no. Thank you, thank you. But just I want to know.
Okay. Okay, so now we're looking at risk management. This is another example of the types of questions that the BCSP will ask. Sometimes they won't ask you which one's right. They'll ask you which one's wrong. How are we doing on time, Malvan?
We have another 45 minutes to go. We need to end this by tonight, Terry. It's only a webinar. It's only an awareness session.
Okay, I'm gonna pick the pace up. I'm gonna pick the pace up. So what I'm gonna ask is that each of you, let's try to go through these questions a little quicker. Don't worry. These are just to show you samples. All right. So most people have answered this. I'm going to go ahead and put the end and put the results. And we did very good. The majority of people chose the right choice. So which is not an element of risk management. So to manage risks, we know that we have to have a safe environmental health and safety program. That's the basis. Managing our contracts and contractors. So we all know that in today's world, half of the people on your site sometimes more, sometimes less, aren't direct hires. They're subcontractors. How do we keep them safe if they don't work for us? Because guess what? It's still your responsibility if they're at your facility. So contract management is the first step to that. And then obviously managing risk, insurance, spreading risk out over time and over different insureds. Spreading the risk is another way to manage it. So human resources, which helps us do all of these things, isn't actually an element of risk management when you study risk management. Questions or comments? I think this one's pretty basic. Okay. So we are going to keep moving. Now there are 3 questions here, and I am going to go through most of the most of these a little faster. We're going to go through this one a little more thoroughly because this is very important. Also, this is the
Terry,
part.
sorry, Terry, it's not on the screen yet.
This is also the. It's taking a little bit of time.
Yes.
There we go. It's also.
Okay.
No, this is the part. This is the domain that you will find the most questions for in the CSP exam. 30 more seconds and we'll discuss these two. I think this first one is a good example of a question that's tricky. And it's one of those things that really sets apart good test takers is the ability not to overthink a question.
Very true.
Because overthinking questions has 3 negative effects. Number 1, it's going to lead you to the wrong answer. Number 2, it's going to take more time. And number 3, it's going to increase your anxiety and your stress. All righty. So that's pretty good. We've got most people's answers here. Let's take a look at these two. Number 1, and I love this question because it, like I said, it's an important example of a question that leads you to overthink. When conducting a safety and health program audit, now everyone knows, first of all, you think to yourself, okay, I'm doing an audit. And when you're just auditing the entire program, what you're saying is my program working? Okay. Secondly, then let's go on. Let's look at in the overall picture of an audit, what's the best way to determine the training, awareness, and competence? So are they trained? Are they aware? And are they competent? How do we know if our employees are trained, aware, and competent? The way we know is that they're using the practices that we teach them and that are listed in the procedures, and they're doing them properly. So the answer to this one is C, observation of employees and practices being used. So what we're saying is it's results driven. Is it working? Can I walk through my facility and look at the employees and see that they're practicing safety the way they need to be practicing it? So if we overthink this, and I'm telling you, when I first read this, I go right to D. And I can see that most of you did. Complete a sampling of performance reviews from different areas, okay, and how they're evaluated, okay? What you need to do is think of this again. What are the results? Are they doing the right practices? So let's go ahead and look at the second one. Any questions or comments on that one? Yeah. Yeah. I probably overthought that too much, didn't I? Number 2, the theoretical ideal for safety is achieved when all risks from hazards are, and this is again where there's a key word. What's the key word? Someone tell me what the key word to this question is.
Ideal.
There's one word that changes all of this. And I guess it's actually a 2-word phrase. And whoever spoke up was absolutely right. The theoretical ideal. Okay, ideal, that's perfect. That's what we strive for, okay? And that always has to be that the hazards are eliminated, okay? Are we able to eliminate every? No. What we're going to end up with in reality is that these are at the acceptable level, which is the choice that most of you picked, okay? But the theoretical ideal, so again, understanding the terms in your questions is important. I'm telling you, test taking strategies are highly underrated when it comes to these type of examinations. So to eliminate your risks, do they need to be anticipated and recognized? Absolutely. Okay, so it's not that those are wrong. And we're going to end up at the acceptable level. But the goal, the overall ideal, perfect situation that this question is asking for is that we eliminate. Our goal that we're always working for, because if we get to the acceptable level and we say, okay, we're acceptable, that we can relax, I can stay in my office and drink tea and not go out and teach my safety lessons, we'll always need to keep working to get to zero, even though we may not always get there. Questions or comments on that one? Because that's another thing that when we're looking at our safety program, that our senior management, our ops, our VP of operations, and the CEO, they're happy with the acceptable level. That's what they're striving for. And sometimes we drive them crazy as a safety professional, always trying to get to zero, and they're telling us we're never going to get there. But guess what? You're never going to get to an acceptable level unless you try to get to zero. And so that's me on my safety soapbox. Sorry about that, everybody. So what I am going to do is we are going to watch the video that we missed earlier, take a little break from the questions. We'll come back and whip through the last domains and talk a little bit about further how to prepare for the CSP. But I do want you to see this video. I think this is important.
Hi, I'm Dr. Teresa Turnbow, CEO of the Board of Certified Safety Professionals. I am a certified safety professional myself, and I have held the CSP for over 20 years. I would like to address a few questions that are frequently asked by members of our LinkedIn group. Our hope is that by proactively addressing these commonly asked questions, it will help you to make your decision to move forward and become certified yourself. As many certificants will tell you, becoming a BCSP certificate not only advances the profession, but it can advance your career as well. Let's talk about the value of certification. Certification demonstrates competency in a given field of practice. It proves your value. The Board of Certified Safety Professionals certifications are peer-driven, psychometrically developed examinations, which ensures proficiency in key knowledge and skills relevant to current safety practice. Certification shows colleagues, stakeholders, and employers that you have successfully demonstrated a level of competency. Many employers require or prefer certification for hiring or for promotion in the area of safety, health, and environmental practice. BCSP is the longest established continuous accredited certifying body in the area of safety, health, and environmental practice. We have been in business since 1969 and currently certify over 27,000 credential holders involved in the safety, health, and environmental protection of the workforce. BCSP certifications are trademarked, available for nearly every level of safety practice, and most importantly, accredited by rigorous accreditation bodies. The CSP is accredited by 2 accreditation bodies, one of them international in scope. Not all certifications are equal. BCSP certifications are psychometrically developed, and the quality of our examinations is what leads to BCSP certifications being endorsed by independent third parties. This is one of the reasons why we call them the gold standard of safety certification. BCSP's examinations are available via computer-based testing sites. We partner with a company named Pearson VUE to administer our examinations. Pearson VUE delivers millions of high-stakes tests over a year across the globe for clients in the licensure, certification, academic admissions, regulatory, and governmental testing service markets. It boasts the world's leading test center network with over 5,000 test centers in 175 countries, 230 of which are fully owned and operated by Pearson Professional Centers. Pearson Professional Centers utilize a patent-winning design, which was created specifically for high-stakes testing and offers a carefully controlled, consistent testing environment. Once a BCSP applicant receives their examination authorization letter from BCSP, they contact the Pearson View site of their choice directly for arranging a date and time to take the examination. Everyone has their own methodologies for studying for BCSP examinations. BCSP provides a blueprint of knowledge and skills covered in each examination, and these are available online at bcsp.org. The exams are not written with the intent of being tricky, so please read the items at face value and do not read into the questions or answers. BCSP does sell self-assessment examinations for each of our certifications. These are available by contacting BCSP and paying a nominal fee. The SAEs provide sample questions that can be anticipated on the respective exam and provide an explanation of the correct answers. There are also many study resources available commercially. We list many of these resources on our website at bcsp.org, but BCSP does not recommend one resource over another. For ethical and accreditation reasons, BCSP remains independent and unconnected to examination preparation and training. Another avenue of assistance you might consider is the BCSP Mentor Program. BCSP mentors are existing certificants who are willing to assist others in preparation for the examinations. A list of the mentors can also be found on the website. Finally, many local associations and organizations provide prep training as well. I hope the answers to these frequently asked questions have helped you to become more comfortable with the processes and procedures of the Board of Certified Safety Professionals. We are here to assist you Monday through Friday through our knowledgeable customer service department. If there are questions that are beyond the scope of customer service, those will be passed along to the appropriate party to help you with as well. BCSP is here to serve you, and we wish you the very best with your examination experience.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. So hopefully that answered any questions that may have remained. So we're going to talk here in a minute about ergonomics. Okay, it's one of the sections, and it has to do with a lot of things. One of the most difficult parts of ergonomics is sitting in front of a computer all day. So what I'm going to ask, Malwan,
yep.
Are you there? Would you?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Very good. Would you turn everybody's cameras on? We'll see if, just for a second.
And crash the internet. Okay, sure, we can do that.
And if it doesn't work, everybody just know, wake up, because we're going to be seeing you here. And you have the option of turning yours off if you don't want it on.
Yeah, I think probably that's better.
One of the most common ergonomic problems that we have is sitting in front of a computer for several hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage everybody, stand up, stretch a little bit, take a couple of deep breaths. I don't want this webinar to cause ergonomic problems. We don't need you to have neck and back and shoulder pain.
Terry, this was not part of the program. I was enjoying my laziness.
I'm not going to ask you to do jumping jacks or push-ups. So, but yeah, and this is, while I do joke and we're kind of being light about this, this is something that you should do every 20 to 30 minutes during the day if you're at your computer for more than that amount of time.
Yeah.
So very good, very good. Okay, so we can turn our videos off. It was nice to see all of your faces, by the way.
All right.
But we don't want to crash the internet. We don't want all of the kids at Zoom school to get booted off and not get credit for their homework. I'm going to move on to our next domain, emergency preparedness. Now this domain number 5, it's my favorite. I can speak for hours on it, but I'm not going to because Malavan has already told me I'm going too slow. But here's a question on fire protection. And this question, by the way, comes from NFPA, which makes it a lot easier for Americans to remember than the rest of the world. Because if you look at all of the answers, they're nice round numbers, 25, 20, 30, 50. But if you look at the meters, they're not round numbers. More difficult to forget. So it's interesting. As you're answering these, they're all coming in about the same. So this is not something that most people probably think of when they think of safety. This is an area that's going to, more than likely for most of us, be in that section of weaknesses that we need to study. So what are some of the NFPA requirements, especially things that you're going to hear about are egress questions, how do you get out of buildings, and fire extinguishers. So let's take a look here at our results. So you can see here was pretty even across the board, just about the same number of answers for each one. And by the way, the answer on this one is A, 25 feet or 7.62 meters. And so that's what the NFPA standards on egress and fire extinguishers say. If you're looking at the NFPA on fire extinguishers, by the way, it's NFPA 10 that this one comes from. And an employee should be required to travel no more than 25 feet to find an extinguisher. So I'm going to share another light moment with you. So in an industrial setting, I was a firefighter for over 20 years and responded to several industrial facilities for fires of different sizes. And do you know when at an industrial facility that they call the fire department? At what point during a fire do they determine? If anyone has an answer, go ahead and unmute yourself and give me the answer. Sorry, I'm getting drinking some Gatorade. All this talking makes my my throat dry. Anybody have a question? When do they call the fire department? This may be an American thing, I don't know. So the answer to that question is when they run out of fire extinguishers. So, which isn't really good for us because that means that the fire is growing worse while they're not putting it out. But on the plus side, we could usually find the fire easier because we just had to follow the trail of empty extinguishers. So, okay, let's keep moving on. That wasn't near as funny as I thought it was going to be. Occupational health and ergonomics. We just practiced some good ergonomic practices by getting up and stretching. So here's a question, and they're going to ask you some of these questions as well. Acronyms, what do they stand for? And this is just simply an awareness question for a safety professional. You know,
Sorry, Terry, we still don't see it on the screen.
Oh, boy. There we go.
All right, okay.
Oh, look at this. Very good awareness. What a group. Good group. Here we go. Look at this. The answer, work-related musculoskeletal disorders. Very good. I'm really happy that nobody put worry management. I made that one up. And it's kind of silly, but so, and these are the types of things, the work-related musculoskeletal disorders, that covers a lot of problems. It could be back issues from twisting and lifting to carpal tunnel from sitting at a computer all day, any number of things, repeated work movements. All of those things cause issues. Let's take a look at the next topic. We're getting close, getting through these here. Environmental management. So I know we've got an industrial hygienist and a laboratory worker here. So these will probably be an area of your strength if you work in the industrial hygiene portion of the safety industry. So let's launch this one. Dispersion models. You know, it's quite interesting when you think of dispersion models. It used to be this complex computer type of modeling that had to be done on large, powerful computers. And today, you can pick your cell phone up, go to any number of different apps. There's an ERG app, the Wiser app. Some of you that are in hazmat or industrial hygiene may be familiar with those. And you can literally do dispersal modeling from your location on Google Maps. Oh, well, it looks like our two industrial hygienists have kicked in the first two answers. They're both correct. This is a very good example, by the way, of a question that has a lot of answers that are sort of right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this one put up. Looks like most of us have answered. And very good. The correct answer, according to BCSP, is momentum and buoyancy of the initial materials released. So dispersion model, simply tell us where is this released material going to go? And the best answer of these four is the momentum. How fast was it moving? And how buoyant is it in air or water? Dispersion could be either. So if it's very buoyant, let's say something like chlorine that has that's lighter, might travel further than a heavier type of material. I worked in the nuclear fuel cycle industry for a while, and we had uranium hexafluoride, uranium, very, very heavy. When that is released, doesn't go very far. So that's a very low buoyancy. Any questions on this one? So one of the things that I can add here is that the other three answers are not entirely wrong. It's just that the best dispersion model results will come based on momentum and buoyancy. The specific the specific gravity will tell us how buoyant. So that's part of the answer, but not all of it. The percent volumetric concentration, or what we commonly refer to as the ppm. ppm. So the ppm, the higher the ppm, the further it's going to go in our dispersion. But again, that's only a part of the answer. Domain 8, training and education. Another area near and dear to my heart. So this is a question that I made to show that sometimes the CSP exam will have a multiple choice that's not just as easy as A, B, C, or D. And this is something that you'll see not a whole lot during the exam, but you'll see it'll be in there several times. So one of the things that I also want to stress about test taking, here's another little free tidbit. If you see all of the above, quickly try to run through and see if there's anything in there that you think might be wrong. If it is, it won't be all of the above.
Terry, we have 10 minutes more.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead. We'll end this one, take a look. Thanks for keeping me on pace there, Malavan.
You're welcome.
So the answers that we see here, most people put all of the above, and the three, there are three of these that are correct. There is a strategy to answering this kind of question as well, and that's something that we can get to later. The answer to this one would be A, B, and D. So we have one more domain. We're going to go through this real quick. The employer is responsible for.
Which one is the correct answer? You did not say it.
Oh, it was
The third one.
The third one, A, B, and D.
And nobody was given the correct answer.
Yeah.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah. So it's important that we understand the best way to attack each different type of question, because there is a real strategy to that sort of question. Let's answer the last one here, and I'm going to put you through this one fast. So just come up with an answer. The employer is responsible for an employee injury when. Okay, we're going to end this one early because we're getting close to the end of our time here. And you guys nailed it. The injury occurs when the employee is performing their work. If a lot of times I'll see people put C, the employee was not being careless. Doesn't matter. If they're doing their job, if they were careless, the employer is still responsible for that legally. And so if you're doing your job at work, then the only thing that takes the employer out is if there was misconduct, if the accident occurred purposely, which at that point it becomes an incident, not an accident, right? So two quick slides I want to share with you, very important. Number one, the components of a study plan. You have to understand the test and the content. You have to understand test taking strategies. I think that was well illustrated with the different types of questions that we saw here. You need to review the content, okay? You need to practice test. You need to have solid analysis of the feedback from your test results. Why did you miss the questions? What areas are you missing questions in? And then you need to remediate and update your study plan. So you start with a plan, but just like in emergency preparedness, we're always evaluating and changing and updating our plan. So I want to talk to you about the reason that Malavan and I have asked you all here is I want to show you something special that we have put together. So the traditional process, and you saw the CEO of the BCSP talk about there's multiple providers, okay? If you go online, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find 2 or 3 day recorded content that will give you one practice exam. So you can sit in front of your computer with no feedback, with no interaction, and listen to somebody talk with recorded content. At the end, you'll get one exam. What I've been doing for several years and helping people with the Board of Certified Safety and the NFPA Certified Safety Fire Professional exams is all live contact. The program that we have put together has 40 hours, all live. You get an exam at the end of each domain, a short test over that domain, a full practice exam given halfway through and at the end. Also, one-on-one coaching sessions, test result feedback, where I will analyze not only what content that you need, but what types of questions are you good at and what types of questions do you need to improve your test taking strategies. And at the end of the course, an individualized study guide. Malvan, do you have anything to add?
No, I think we're pretty fine. Pretty fine. We've shared a lot of information. I think we should give them time to process the information shared, and then let them get back to us.
Very good. Are there any questions or comments?
Please, can you get us such questions on your email? Try to practice, because as we practice, we get a lot of experience and be able to even answer, the exams.
Yes, and everyone should have my email address. You see it here.
Yeah, sure.
Very good. Anything else?
And I was asking about these guidelines you have been giving us. Can you send them to us so that we keep on reading them and understand exactly?
The guidelines from BCSP on how to go through the application process?
Exactly.
Oh, of course. I think Malavan has a brochure that he can send you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Marvin, please do that.
Sure. See, what I'm going to do is once the session is over, I'm going to send you a couple of documents. One is we'll send you the recording of today's session, which you can download and view it on your laptop. Don't keep it on the server. That's one. And we'll also send you the PowerPoint presentation, which Terry had used. Third, I'll also send you the brochure for the upcoming workshop, the guidance program, which Terry spoke about, the 40 hours and with the study plan and the coaching sessions. So we're going to send all the information. The brochure will have a step-by-step guide on what you have to do, number 1, number 2, number 3, starting from, from the application process. Now, I'm sure, like from the little experience I have dealing with CSP students, ASP students in Qatar. Now, even though you read the brochure, sometimes like you may get caught in between paragraphs. Okay, I think everyone has my number, or like when I send you an email, you're going to have my number. So just give me a call and we can discuss over the phone.
Thank you so much, Marvin.
Okay.
Hey, you're most welcome. Any other questions, please?
I have a question. I'm gonna live in Qatar in 1 month, flying to Netherlands. Can I start this training online? And in my application, do I have to say in which country I'm gonna do this exam, or I can do this in Qatar and in Netherlands? Doesn't matter.
I think, Terry, that's the one we didn't say, that it's an online program.
It's definitely, it is an online program, so you can do this from,
thanks, Anna,
from anywhere at any time.
Yeah, I understand that, but exam, physically I have to do in some institution for the certificate. For the
you do have to do the exam at a Pearson VUE. I can tell you that there are Pearson VUE in the Netherlands and Qatar.
But if I apply for the admission, do I have to state directly which country I'm gonna do this? Because at this moment when I'm leaving Qatar and consider the situation with coronavirus, I'm not sure when I'm gonna flying back.
Right. When you apply, you don't choose your testing. After you get the approval letter from BCSP, then you have 1 year to finish your test, and you can do that test anywhere. So it's up to you once you get the letter and you pay, and Malvaner's right, you do pay the BCSP, you don't pay Pearson VUE. But once you get your letter, you can schedule your Pearson VUE exam anywhere.
And you mentioned also about the book. Can we order this also by you, by this program, or this is gonna be part of the training when we receive the book, physically book?
Study guide.
Study guide, yes.
Study guide, that's a part of the program.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for interesting presentation.
Yeah, and the study guide is individualized based on your results from the domain quizzes and the exam.
Okay, thank you so much.
Practice exam.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Malvan. Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe I came late, but I did not hear anything about the qualification requirement to apply for the BCSP programs, you know?
Terry, he's right. Did we miss the slide on the requirements, on the list of qualifications accepted by BCSP?
I will make sure that I add that. No, I didn't list it, but because it's on the brochure.
All right. Okay. Brilliant. See, when I emailed the brochure to everyone, I don't remember the page number, but that's one page which includes the list of qualifications which are accepted by BCSP.
Okay.
Okay. And like Anna pointed out,
I can very quickly answer that question. You need 4 years of, in addition to a degree, 4 years of experience in the safety field, and one of 13 different certifications, most of which, when you listed your certifications early on, I think all of you had one of those. And that list of certifications will be in the brochure.
Okay. Can I add to
I
that,
went to
Terry?
BCSP, Malvan, I went to BCSP website and I checked, okay, but talking about the certification, NVQ is not included.
That's
NVQ
correct.
diploma, yeah, right?
Yes, Terry, I guess you remember the conversation we had. There were a few other qualifications which are not mentioned, like NVQ and the British Safety Council diploma. And see, to my knowledge, like I don't remember the name of the candidate, someone who had applied from Qatar, they got accepted by BCSP, but I still need to verify. Can I check and come back to you on this?
That's fine, that's fine.
Sure, just do me a favor. Just send me a mail on this as well. Just copy Terry as well. Just send me a mail so that, you know, I do have a very good memory, which I don't trust. So I look forward to your mail.
And what happened?
Right.
Is
thank you, guys.
The BCSP will evaluate your application and what certifications you hold.
Okay.
Those 13, if you hold them, that means you will definitely get in. If you do not, but you have some others, they may see that those are equivalent.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is, I think, what happened in the case that Malavan was speaking of earlier.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Hey, you're welcome.
Well, I want
Anyone
to.
else? Yes, Terry.
We thank $10 for what you've done for us. We are so happy for that. And
well, you're very welcome. And
we expect more from you. Anyway, we shall be contacting you from your email and get more from you.
Very good.
Yes,
and I really hope to see all of you in our upcoming study course. It's really an exceptional preparation, far and above anything that you're going to find anywhere else.
And we thank Melvin to try to get us on standard. It's very good to get us on standard. It's very good.
Absolutely. He's
Most
very
welcome.
good
Most
advocate
welcome.
for your area.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Jagjit, you'd like to ask a question? Jagjit, please go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thanks to everyone for coming in and listening and participating through the webinar. I hope that we answered your questions, and I hope that we get to see more of you when we start our course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry, Terry, for your
good night, guys. Stay
valuable.
safe.
Okay, good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Bye.
Take care of yourselves and your families.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Mom.
All right. God bless you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end, Malvan.
Yes. Okay. And do you want to come online?
Sure.
Okay, great. Sure.